Prosperity Health Recipes. Maureen G Mulvaney, better known as MGM, and welcome to our Health Recipes class. We are going to do session 3, and that is your circulatory system. And tonight, our big book of what I call health and wealth is the Bible. And I love this proverb says, a cheerful heart is good medicine. But, don't you love this, dries up, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones. So a cheerful heart is good medicine. What great wisdom is that? And my definition of vibrant health that we all want to get to is awakening each morning easily and effortlessly, filled with joy, a good attitude, and plenty of energy to get you through the day. Having a good appetite that keeps you in the most efficient and effective way for your body. Having a good memory, a good sense of humor, and having clear mind filled with gratitude and love for life. And I think that if we all go for that, it will be fantastic. And I want you to, vibrant health is my birth order. I shimmer with excitement. I am vibrantly healthy. And so I just love that. And look at this picture of little MGM. When I came popping out of my mama, I was healthy and joyous and doing the hula. Truly, true story. My mom used to tell me that all the time. And I loved everything about me. I would endlessly look at my little hands, my toes, even my feces, which I sometimes would smear all over because I hadn't been taught anything about shame or guilt yet. So, of course, everything was fabulous. And look at me. I'm even laughing back then, my mouth wide open. And so as a baby, I didn't have any program except my natural state of joy. There was no, I'm so fat, cancer runs in my family, I'm going to catch a cold, I just know it, I'm not good enough. There was none of that because there was no programming. As a baby, I was perfect. I was a little love and healing machine with no thought programming. I was just thrilled to be me, red-haired, well, back then I was still bald, red-headed, freckled, and all. And hear me clearly on this. You come to planet Earth with no thought programming. You were programming by spaced repetitions from your mother, father, sister, brother, aunts, uncles, teachers, preachers, friends, and enemies. And whatever you heard, saw, and experienced as a baby to age about 10, over a period of time, usually 6 times a day for over 30 days, which we know is spaced repetition. Through spaced repetition, you formed your thoughts. Through spaced repetition, those thoughts bundled together and became your beliefs, which became your words, which became your experiences that went into your subconscious and became automatic. Now, pay attention to what is being said when you cross your arms. A lot of times people cross their arms. Every time you cross your arms, and in the debate tonight, you will see when they cross their arms, when you watch it on the recorded, shows your subconscious. How you cross your arms, that's your subconscious, because it's a fearful moment instantaneously, and we fold our arms. So the next one is you had no belief programming when you were a baby. You were just a bundle of joy filled with love. So the law of thoughts go like this. Thoughts came from what you saw, heard, and learned as a child. Your beliefs are similar thoughts that you bundled together. Your beliefs are spoken out into the universe as the words you speak. Those words are what create your unique experiences in life, because we all have different experiences. And then all those thoughts, beliefs, words, and experiences that you learned, usually by the age of 3, went right into your subconscious and became automatic. And so those subconscious automatic beliefs, words, experience became your recipe for life. You and you alone have that recipe. No one else on the planet has the same recipe for life like you do. And so your recipe for life is what you are thinking, saying, and experiencing right now in your life. And whatever you think, whatever you say, whatever you experience becomes the way you create your life, your reality, and your future. And when you come upon a new, different idea or circumstances, you automatically revert to your subconscious stored your own life recipes about health, about relationships, jobs, lifestyle, all of that without question. You follow your own unique life recipe pattern. And sometimes that's filled with joy, and sometimes it creates anger, fear, and chaos. For example, if you came from, say, a loving family, your first main life and recipe ingredient used to filter all the experiences is usually maybe a loving way. But if you came, say, from an alcoholic family, and alcoholic families almost always, hear me clearly on this, almost always are filled with anger and are fear. And so your first major life recipe ingredient would be to filter all experiences in fear and with anger. So here's the good news of all of this. You don't have to continue using your outdated life recipes, which were put in by almost the age of 3 and became automatically, especially regarding your health. Why? It's simple, because your subconscious was trained by the words you heard from other people, the experience you saw, and what you were trained to do. You were trained, your subconscious was trained. You learned everything. That's the good news, because if you learned it, you can reprogram yourself using positive, effective, healing thoughts. That's why we say 100 times a day, 700 times a week, and 7,000 times during this class, vibrant health is my birthright. I shimmer with excitement. I am vibrantly healthy. It's all about retraining your brain. And so your life recipes worked for you at one time. Let's take a peek at them. And if they might need to be updated. The ones that are working, keep. The ones that don't work, let's get rid of them and get some new ones. And we sing the song, and Michelle proved this point tonight. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. Feel so good. Feel so swell. Every little cell is happy and well. The more you say things, and everything you say is what you claim. Let me make this clear. Affirmations, we think that you have to make them up. Everything you say is an affirmation. Everything you speak out into the universe, you are claiming what you want. And half the time, you don't want what you're saying. But because you're on automatic, you just say it. So you have to learn that you are a healing machine. In the beginning, you were alone. You healed yourself with plants, trees, food, everything. You had to heal yourself because there wasn't anyone else. Then we developed a fight or flight response, and you fought the mountain lion, you ran away, or you died. And then we moved around on planet Earth, and we found each other, and we exchanged ideas. We not only used the plants and the food, but now we started massaging each other, and light and sound and color and prayer and acupuncture, energy medicine, dance, and healing practices. And the people that had special abilities became the medicine men and the shamans and the doctors. And this went on for hundreds of years until we discovered the microscope, which showed us germs. And then all of a sudden we went to, germs, we got to be at war with the germs. So the doctors became the generals, who our bodies became the occupied territory, and different body parts were just separate entities that needed to be fixed with a pill or surgery. And we threw away the 5,000 years of healing that we had before. It's time to bring it back. Our Health Recipes course is all about taking back your healing superpowers that you have had all along. You have always had the ability to heal yourself. You have always had the ability to ward off virus and all kinds of things that are coming your way. Decide right now to take back your healing abilities. Decide to embrace your new healing modalities that have been around for thousands of years, using the energy that's in your body, light, chakra, decisions that you make. Decide to add choice to fight or flight, because fight or flight doesn't work in today's stressors. You have to add conscientious choice. And holding on to resentment, revenge, anger, rage, and hate can make you sick. And we know this. Kathy said tonight that when she let go and she forgave her ex-husband, her life changed. And all of a sudden, new happy things started coming into her life. New relationship came into her life. That was so yummy. So decide to add conscientious healing, kind, loving, and forgiving thoughts to create the vibrant health of your dreams. Claim your vibrant health. Every little cell in my body is healthy. Every little cell in my body is well. And it's time for review. And once again, my dear friend Albert Einstein says everything is energy. Match the frequency of the reality you want. Your thoughts are energy. When you send them out, it's just like a radio station. You send these out, you can't see them, but positive thoughts vibrate high, negative thoughts vibrate low. Claim new thoughts and beliefs about your health. Here's what I say. I'll be honest. Here's mine. And this is my personal, what I claim. I am the master chef of my body. I whip up vibrant health. I feed my body nourishing foods and beverages, as well as nourishing thoughts and experiences. I cook up wellness by always remembering to take out the trash, which are my negative thoughts, as I clean and cleanse my beliefs. I pamper and respect my body. My body knows how to heal itself, and it is always in the healing process. I am vibrantly healthy. I claim that for myself. And last week I gave you the homework to ask and find out for yourself, what are your thoughts about health in general? Because you can't change what you don't know you have. You have to know, what thoughts do you have about your health in specific? Do you believe that genetically you're predisposed to things and you're just going to get it? Or, do you believe, whatever you believe, it helps to understand it, so that we can find a way around it. When you know the words of what you say, like Kathy discovered that she knows that this particular neighbor gives her information that is not helpful to her. So instead of allowing it to come in and then and processing that, she stopped her before it came in. How brilliant was that? Because she knew she had changed her beliefs. And she knew that she had already forgiven this person, and she didn't need to put them down or get them excited about it anymore. So the more that we know what our beliefs are, the more we can make a decision that we create the vacuum, which is all about making space. To create a vacuum, we make some space so that we can fill that vacuum with new ideas about health. And here again, Donna Eden's energy exercises. I will send you the link again. It's her Donna Eden energy routine exercise. It takes you 5 minutes, but it is fabulous. And I promise you will automatically learn it if you just watch it for at least 7 days, because I love it and has done very good for myself. So health. We're into vibrant health, and we know from our prosperity class that's the first of what we have studied in the past: vibrant health, harmonious relationships, purposeful purpose, and dream lifestyle. And we know that if you want to attract great wealth, you have to maintain a level of dream lifestyle prosperity by making vibrant health your cornerstone, because great wealth without health is unthinkable. Make your foundation to great wealth vibrant health. And once you understand that, oh my gosh, it becomes so much easier. So like we've been doing, we'll start with the physical side. And tonight we're going to talk about the circulatory system. And the body, once again, I want to keep repeating this, the body has the ability to heal itself. You must make that so clear in your mind. It has for thousands and thousands of years been able to do that. So today, let's talk about the miraculous circulatory system. And the main function of the circulatory system is to carry through the blood oxygen and nutrients to the cells of your body. It is formed by the heart, the lungs, the arteries, and the veins. And for you to have vibrant health, it's essential that the circulatory system function properly. So let's take a tour. So the heart is one of the vital organs of the human body and is located in the middle left of your chest. It's about, the apple is about the weight of a human heart. It's about 300 grams. And the heart's essential function is to pump blood through the circulatory system, thus providing oxygen-rich blood required for staying alive. Staying alive, staying alive, And when you're relaxing, your heart beats around approximately 70 times a minute. And when you're running or exercising, it doubles, and it's usually about 140 a minute. And your heart is the hardest working organ in the body because the heart continuously pumps oxygen and nutrient-rich blood throughout the body to sustain life. And this fist-sized powerhouse beats 100,000 times per day, 100,000 times a day. That's approximately 35 million times a year. During the average lifetime, a human heart will beat up to 2.5 billion times. Unbelievable. And your heart pumps about 5 to 6 quarts of blood every minute and about 200 gallons of blood every day. So the heart has the 4 chambers, as you see there in the picture: right atrium, right ventricle, left ventricle. And when the valves open and close, open and close, open and close, you hear your heartbeat. And if you stay in a constant state of fight or flight like we do nowadays, because everybody's riled up about the presidential election, social injustice, all loss of jobs, loss of wages, this has happened, that has happened. What happens is that it puts us in a constant state of fight or flight, which is kind of stressful, and your body never has the time to calm itself back down. So your heart is pumping, it said 70 beats per minute if you're resting, and 140. So your heart is pumping, 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 pumping more and more. And then on top of that, if you gain weight, it absolutely has to beat more. So can you understand over a lifetime? Let me give this to you a way you can hear. Originally, our body parts lasted a whole lifetime and didn't need to be replaced. They were that good. But because we have added so much extra weight and so much extra stress, and we're using fight or flight instead of choice, and what happens is we're overworking all of our systems. So you can see what happens. And your heart is like a pump. When you see this pump, this hand pump that you're seeing, it pulls water from the ground and supplies it to us. And the heart acts the same way. Instead of water, your heart pumps blood into your body. And so right next to your heart the right side of your heart receives the dirty oxygen, poor blood from your veins. The heart pumps it into the lungs. The lungs clean the blood by getting rid of the carbon dioxide and adds the clean oxygen to get it from that it comes from the nose. You breathe in through the nose, you bring in all that oxygen, and it goes right out. The left side of the heart receives oxygen-rich blood from your lungs and pumps it through your arteries to the rest of your body. So try it again. Blood comes back to the heart. It is full of carbon dioxide, dirty. The lungs do their job. They clean up the blood. They refill it with oxygen, send that oxygen, fresh blood to the heart, where it again sends that oxygen, fresh blood back to the body parts. And it just goes round and round and round in a circular motion. That's why they call it circulatory system. And so those arteries and veins, the red color lines are your arteries, and the arteries are blood vessels responsible for carrying that oxygen-rich blood away from the heart, and the blue lines are the veins, are the blue vessels that carry that dirty oxygen-poor blood from the body back to your heart to be reoxygenated. And so all of the arteries and veins measured together in single file would be 2.5 laps of the earth. This amazes me how brilliantly our body has been put together. It's just brilliant. And heart attack. We talk about heart attack because we didn't have this a century ago, but we're having tons of heart attacks nowadays. Once again, the obesity and the fact that we stay in a constant state of stress, you can see millions of people around the world die from heart attacks every year and cardiovascular disease, which causes the heart attacks and other problems like stroke. So what causes the heart attack? Like all muscles, the heart needs oxygen, and during a heart attack, it can't get enough. The fatty deposits, or plaque, as we call it, develop on the walls of the coronary arteries, and those are the vessels that supply oxygenated blood to the heart. When these plaques grow as we kind of get older, sometimes they get chunky, they get hard, or they get inflamed. And eventually these plaques can turn into blockages. And if one of the plaques ruptures or cracks, a blood clot will form around it within minutes. Now, a partially closed artery can become completely blocked and block the flow. It cuts off to the cardiac muscle, and the oxygen-starved cells start to die within several minutes. So this is a myocardial infraction or a heart attack. And things can rapidly deteriorate in the absence of treatment. And so the injured muscles may not be able to pump blood as well. And so it might even get out of rhythm. So a heart attack can cause sudden death. How do we know that someone's having a heart attack? And here are some of the signs that we need to be aware of. And so the most common for men is shortness of breath, chest pain, and they describe it more like a crushing or vice, and discomfort or tingling in the arms to the back, neck, shoulder, or even the abdomen. But it's not always as sudden or dramatic as we see in the movies, and the symptoms may be very much less pronounced in women. And for years, they didn't notice it. But women have a very different way that we have this happen to us, and so do the elderly. So we might be nauseous or vomiting. We might find that we're unusually tired as a main signal. We're cold sweats. It could be like a feeling of heartburn and feeling maybe sudden dizziness. Surprising in many people, especially those with diabetes, which affects the nerves that carry pain, the heart attack may be silent. So that is why they call it the silent killer. And the first thing you should do, obviously, is call 911. Now, I always couldn't figure out what's the difference between a heart attack and a stroke. I didn't get that. And so it's a whole different thing. So how do let's go back to the heart attack. Sorry, before we finish with that. What do we do if we see somebody with a heart attack, or we feel we are? Take an aspirin, which helps to thin the blood. Nitroglycerin, if you have it, if that's your heart disease. Get to an emergency room where they can diagnose the heart attack with electrocardiogram to measure the electrical activity and blood work to see where the blockages might be. A cardiologist could use and even do a blocked artery by inflating it with a balloon called the angioplasty, or they could put in a stent and hold the artery open. And so more extensively, you might need coronary bypass surgery using a piece of vein or an artery so that you can reestablish that circulation to the cardiac muscle and restore heart function. And in this class, we learned, I only bring this up so that you can be proactive, because these are all very preventable kinds of things. The good news is that you can change your lifestyle. Exercise and a healthy diet and weight loss will lower the risk of heart attack. Let me repeat that. Exercise, a healthy diet, weight loss, and healthy diet. We're going to get in that later in next classes, so I'm not going to talk extensively about that right now. But exercising, even if you do it a few times a week, both aerobic and strength training. I loved Justice Ginsburg, who we recently lost. But her workout for strength training was incredible. And look at, she was in her 80s after cancer so many times, but she knew the importance of exercising. And I think that's what kept her alive and kept her health her mind so healthy. A healthy heart diet is low in sugar and saturated fats. And so, what kind of things should you eat? Lots of fiber from vegetables, chicken, and fish instead of the red meat. And use whole grains and nuts, because we know that the whiter the bread, the faster you're dead. So I say let go of all the white bread in your life and eat things that are much more healthy. Keeping your weight in a healthy range will lower your heart attack risk. And that's why I'm walking 2 miles a day, because I want to lower my risk and I want to release all the excess weight that this pandemic I have put on during the pandemic, and getting your blood pressure down and reducing your cholesterol and diabetes, those kind of things. So avoiding tobacco use and appropriate weight is the perfect way, and getting plenty of sleep. And here's my favorite, which I always recommend: lots of laughter. People discount that, but laughter is like internal jogging. It absolutely stimulates every single one of your organs. And if I have to say one thing that I think that will keep you very, very healthy, especially your heart, is laugh. Make a decision. Crying, my mother's favorite saying was, crying cleanses the soul of sadness, but laughing revives the soul. By laughing, you can make your heart bring it back to who it is. The heart muscle is all about love. Blood is all about joy. When you were a baby, your natural state was pumping love and joy throughout your body. That's what you did. So let's get back to doing that. So laugh more. That's what I say. And the difference here again with the stroke is very different from a heart attack. But for years, I didn't get that. I always kept saying, what's the difference? Strokes deprive the brain cells of oxygen. Heart attack is all about depriving the heart of oxygen. A stroke is all about depriving the brain cells of oxygen, which I don't think is a great idea to do. And a leading cause, a stroke is the most preventable of all the disabilities. When somebody experiences a stroke, critical medical care is so critical. Quick medical care can often avoid permanent brain damage. So what causes the stroke in the first place? I love this. The brain makes up just 2% of the body's entire mass, but it consumes more than 20% of the oxygen. Let me say that again. 2% of the body mass, but 20% of the oxygen goes to the brain. Thank you, God, for that gorgeous brain of ours. In your blood, the oxygen is carried to the brain through that system of arteries, and the carotid artery supplies the front part of the brain, and the vertebral arteries supply the back. These are connected to each other and divide into smaller and smaller vessels that get billions of neurons the oxygen and that is oxygen needs. In the blood flow, if the blood flow is interrupted, oxygen delivery stops and the brain cells will die. There are two things that can happen. Hemorrhagic strokes are when your perforated vessel allows blood to leak out. And then the ischemic is how it's said, and I've got that wrong. Stroke, when a clot blocks a vessel that brings blood flow to a halt. And where do these clots come from? Well, on a rare occasion, a sudden change in heart rhythm prevents the upper chambers of the heart from contracting normally, which then slows down that blood flow, allowing platelets and clotting factors and fiber to stick together. The clot can be carried up towards those arteries and blood vessels supplying to the brain. Until it gets to one, it can't squeeze through, so it gets smaller. And this is an embolism, and it cuts off the oxygen supply to all the cells downstream. So the brain doesn't have pain receptors, so you can't feel the blockage itself. But oxygen deprivation slows brain function and can have some noticeable sudden effects. And we've seen this again and again and again. For example, if the affected area is responsible for speech, the individual's words become slurred. How many times they have saved people on TV? And it just happened again to RuPaul, I think who was that? Rand Paul, who was on TV and started slurring his words, and they instantly took him right in. If a stroke affects a part of the brain that controls muscle, it can cause weakness, often just on one side of the arm. When this happens, the body will immediately try to compensate by diverting the blood. See how smart we are. Diverting the blood flow to the affected area. But this isn't really a perfect solution, because eventually the oxygen-deprived cells will start to die, leading to brain damage that may be severe or permanent. That's why it's important to get medical care as quickly as possible. Then the first line of treatment is that TPA, which is tissue plasminogen activator, which can break up the cell clot and blood clot and allow blood to flow again to the compromised artery. If it's delivered within a few hours, the medication greatly increases the chance of surviving the stroke and avoiding permanent consequences. But if the TPA can't be given because the patient is on different medication or has a history of major bleeding or clot is particularly large, doctors can perform another procedure and using a fluorescent dye that illuminates the blood cells under a strong X-ray. So, and they can go in and reverse that and grab the clot and pull it out. These treatments may be delivered as soon as possible to prevent brain function, preserve the brain function, which means figuring out how fast if someone is having a stroke. And so that's why they came up with this, and I think it's lovely. FAST test, F-A-S-T. Face drooping, or face becomes uneven. So the first part of FAST is ask the person to smile. A crooked smile or facial drooping can indicate muscle weakness. Arm weakness, ask them to raise their arms. And if one drifts downward, that arm weakness is also a sign of a stroke. Speech, ask them to repeat a simple word or phrase. If the speech sounds slurred or strange, it could mean that the language area of the brain is deprived of the oxygen. And then time. T stands for call as quickly as you can. Make sure that you can get them to the emergency services actually as quick as you can, because their life depends on it. So this is how your circulatory system, a quick working of it. And every time you want to thank your system, because reality is the heart is love, the blood is joy. And originally, we were meant to pump love and joy throughout our body consistently and continuously. So let's thank the circulatory system every single time that you have ever been sick and recovered quickly. Thank your circulatory system. But we like to take a tour through the eastern side, the metaphysical side, the holistic side of medicine that uses energy and Ho'oponopono and massage and transforming your beliefs and thoughts. And I propose that we take a look and use and combine the best of the Western and Eastern together to create vibrant health, and to add to fight or flight conscientious choice, because in today's world, it's what we need to really survive and be vibrantly healthy. So your subconscious, which is the mind, is where most of all of your thought processes hang out. The conscious mind, those are conscious thoughts that you make. But most of the things you think about your health, relationships, your job, everything is right down beneath the surface in the subconscious. It's automatic. It's the things you think, the thoughts you think, the words you speak, and the actions you take that create the experiences you have in your life. When you practice, you have a huge influence on how well your circulatory system operates. You can change your circulatory system by changing your thoughts. Your energy system is controlled by your automatic subconscious and your mental habits. Remember that it's easy, they were easily trained, so you can retrain them by conscientiously deciding that you will practice new thoughts that work for you more effectively. Practice to a point that you change your thoughts so it knows exactly what to do and it knows how to do it to create a circulatory system. And we do it with a positive attitude, with a faith and prayer, overflowing joy. Hear me clearly. Joy is the key here. And thanks and gratitude that you practiced until it becomes automatic and you know how it's going to work. Everything you practice, such as Ho'oponopono or our new energy routine, is set up. I'm setting you up to boost your own spiritual level and to increase the healing ability of your circulatory system. And so your energy circulatory system, like I've said, your biological circulatory system is carrying through the blood oxygen and nutrients to all the cells in the body. But the spiritual energetic circulatory system is the counterpart. It carries that energy life force throughout the body to assist in resolving negative thinking patterns and negative feelings that feel like you're under attack by negative, toxic people, toxic circumstances, and toxic events in your life. And maybe you've lost your natural joyful state because it was infected by negative programming, either during childhood or later on. So by a barrage of negative programming all around you. And you have to know if it got in there through spaced repetition, you and you alone are the only one that can make it come through and force it into a new way of thinking. So let's look at your heart first. Your heart physically is essential to pump blood throughout the circulatory system and create oxygen-rich blood that sends it to every cell to keep it alive. Louise Hay, and I love her, she's the author again of How to Heal Your Life, suggests that energetically, the heart represents the center of love and security. So if you need to really think about saying and claiming, my heart beats to the rhythm of love. Isn't that lovely? I love that. I love that. My heart beats to the rhythm of love. I love that. And that's an expression and an affirmation you can make. When we think of a heart attack isn't the body attacking, the heart attacking the body. A heart attack is you squeezing off the oxygen and squeezing out and squeezing all the joy out of your life in favor of other things. The one that comes to mind instantaneously is Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney had heart attack after heart attack after heart attack. And I truly believe that was a man that squeezed every bit of joy out of a situation for position and power. And, it was something to watch. And so he squeezed all the oxygen. The heart attack squeezes the oxygen out. The heart attack is you squeezing joy out of your life. To resolve any kind of heart attack issue, you must claim, I bring joy back to the center of my heart. I express love to all. Energetically, any other kind of heart problems that it might be long-standing, it is a long-standing emotional problems. Lack of joy, hardening of the heart, belief in strain and stress. when you give in and you constantly let yourself be strained and stressed all the time. To resolve those kind of heart issues, all you have to do is reclaim joy, joy, joy. I lovingly allow joy to flow through my mind and my body and all of my experiences. So you claim to bring it back. When you have heartburn, heartburn is all about fear, 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 clutching fear. And so to resolve heartburn, you want to resolve heartburn in your life, all you have to do is claim, I breathe freely and fully. I am safe. I trust the process of life. And so stroke. Physically, stroke deprives the brain cells of oxygen and is the leading cause of a preventable disability. Energetically, Louise Hay says the probable cause of stroke is that we just give up. We have a real resistance. We'd rather die than change. And we reject life because we've given up. And to resolve this, all you have to do is claim life is change. I adapt easily to new ideas, new circumstances, and new people. I accept life, past, present, and future. Just even saying it calms you down. The lungs. Physically, the lungs clean the blood by getting rid of carbon dioxide and aids in cleansing it with filling it with oxygen to get it, that comes in through the nose to breathe. So we breathe in that clean oxygen. We get rid of the dirty stuff and fill it with oxygen. So the lungs are all about your ability to take in life, how you are taking in life. And you can start claiming, I take in life in perfect balance. Listen to me again. Clear your lungs. I take in life in perfect balance. If you have lung problems like pneumonia, all pneumonia is all about depression, grief, fear of taking in life, not feeling worthy of living life fully. To resolve it, all you have to do is claim, I have the capacity to take in the fullness of life. I lovingly live life to the fullest. If you have lung problems, maybe like a lupus, it's about giving up. It's better to die than stand up for oneself. And it's about anger and punishment, usually of self. So to resolve the lupus problems, what we say is, I speak up for myself freely and easily. I claim my own power. I love and approve of myself because I am free. I am safe. If you're having problems with your arteries, which are responsible for carrying oxygen-rich blood away from the heart and carrying reoxygenated blood to the heart, then it's all about carrying the joy of life. Your veins and arteries carry the joy of life. Claim, I am filled with joy. It flows through me with every beat of my heart. I love that one so much. Let me say it again. I am filled with joy. It flows through me with every beat of my heart. I easily release what no longer works for me and is needed. The past is over and I am free. So we know that the circulatory system is about circulating all the love and all the joy throughout our body. That's what I was as a baby was meant to do. And yet, as soon as we learn judgments and all of the things we learned early on, we let go of all of that. So let's attract it back. Let's attract vibrant health back, because the key to getting what you want is knowing what you want. So let's attract back what we know we want, vibrant health. And so before we do our Ho'oponopono, I want to send you off to start practicing. Do the energy routine, daily energy. It's Donna Eden's daily energy routine. You can find it on YouTube or look at the link I sent you and make a decision you're going to practice that every day. It takes 5 minutes. because it will bring you vibrant health, harmonious relationships, pleasurable purpose, and dream lifestyles. You can't cook up vibrant health unless you practice what's going to be best for you.